Keanu Reeves is more than a movie star. He is a cultural touchstone for decency, humility, and quiet endurance. Across decades in Hollywood, an industry often defined by excess and ego, he has remained grounded, almost invisible in his restraint. His performances span genres and generations, from the philosophical gravity of The Matrix to the raw, restrained grief of John Wick. Yet his greatest legacy may lie outside the screen. People admire him not for what he owns, but for how he treats others, how he listens, and how he carries himself. There is no manufactured persona, no loud self-promotion. Instead, there is a man shaped by loss, movement, and reflection who chose kindness as a daily practice. Keanu's life reminds us that strength does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply shows up, stays present, and keeps going, quietly, consistently, and with humanity intact. A childhood without stillness, Keanu Reeves was born on September 2nd, 1964, in Beirut, Lebanon, a city already shaped by history and transition. His early life reflected that same instability. His father left when Keanu was very young, creating an absence that would quietly shape his sense of self. Raised primarily by his mother, Patricia Taylor, Keanu moved frequently between continents, cities, and households, never staying long enough to feel rooted. Home became a temporary concept rather than a fixed place. Different schools, different accents, and different stepfathers passed through his life, each reinforcing the idea that permanence was fragile. Yet within that instability, Keanu learned adaptability and observation. He became someone who watched closely, listened deeply, and learned to exist without demanding attention. The constant motion of his childhood didn't harden him. Instead, it softened him, teaching him empathy early and shaping the introspective nature that would later define both his acting and his life. Learning to belong school was not easy for Keanu. He struggled with dyslexia, making traditional learning environments frustrating and often discouraging. Academic success seemed out of reach, and discipline-based schools failed to recognize his strengths. He moved through several high schools before finding brief relief in creative spaces. Hockey became his refuge, where structure and teamwork replaced confusion, and where his role as a goalie mirrored his personality: quiet, focused, protective. Acting later offered a similar sanctuary. On stage, he could inhabit other lives and make sense of emotions that were difficult to articulate in his own. Performance became less about recognition and more about understanding. Though he was expelled from one art school, the rejection didn't deter him. Instead, it clarified his path. Keanu wasn't searching for approval. He was searching for belonging. Acting gave him that, not as an escape from reality, but as a way to process it. Starting with nothing. At 17, Keanu left Toronto for Los Angeles with little more than ambition and determination. The early years were defined by uncertainty, small roles, long auditions, shared apartments, and constant financial pressure. He took whatever work he could find, learning the realities of the industry from the ground up. His first significant paycheck felt monumental, not because of the amount, but because it confirmed that he could survive on his own terms. When Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure arrived, it revealed something unexpected: Keanu's sincerity. The role worked, not because it was exaggerated, but because he played it honestly. Audiences connected with that authenticity. Success followed, but it never seemed to change his priorities. Even as opportunities expanded, Keanu remained focused on the craft rather than the spotlight. Fame came, but it didn't become his identity. It became a tool that allowed him to keep doing the work he loved: friendship, loss, and reality, One of the most meaningful relationships in Keanu's life was his friendship with River Phoenix. They connected through shared values, creative curiosity, and a mutual discomfort with Hollywood's excess. River's death in 1993 was devastating. It forced Keanu to confront loss at a deeply personal level during a time when his career was accelerating. Grief arrived without pause, even as expectations to perform remained. Rather than retreat publicly, Keanu internalized the experience, carrying it quietly. The loss reshaped how he viewed success and time, reinforcing the understanding that nothing is guaranteed. This period marked a turning point, not away from acting, but toward deeper intention. He learned that grief does not disappear. It becomes part of who you are. Instead of allowing it to close him off, Keanu allowed it to deepen his empathy, influencing both the roles he chose and the way he treated the people around him. Family above everything. Keanu's devotion to his family became most evident during his sister Kim's battle with leukemia. For years, he prioritized her care over career momentum, adjusting his life to remain present and supportive. He attended appointments, learned medical routines, and made himself available without complaint or publicity. When financial success came through the Matrix, he used it quietly, donating to research and support programs without attaching his name. There were no announcements, no branding, just action. This period reinforced Keanu's belief that success only matters if it can ease someone else's burden. When Kim entered remission, it wasn't treated as a victory to celebrate publicly, but as a gift to protect privately. His response to family hardship revealed the core of his character: loyalty without conditions, generosity without recognition, and love expressed through presence rather than words. Love and unimaginable grief. Keanu's relationship with Jennifer Syme brought him happiness during a time of professional success, but it was followed by profound loss. The stillbirth of their daughter was a tragedy that altered everything. Grief became a daily companion, testing their ability to move forward together. When Jennifer later died in a car accident, the loss compounded into something nearly impossible to process. Keanu faced it without public commentary or spectacle. He attended the funeral, honored the memories, and continued living with quiet resolve. These experiences did not make him bitter or withdrawn. They made him patient. He learned that grief has no timeline and no solution, only acceptance. Rather than hardening his heart, he allowed the pain to inform his compassion. His understanding of sorrow became evident not in interviews, but in how gently he moved through the world afterward. Redefining success. Despite extraordinary wealth and recognition, Keanu Reeves lives modestly. He rides public transportation, avoids excess, and treats fame as something temporary. On film sets, he is known for sharing profits, rewarding crew members, and acknowledging the labor behind the scenes. These actions are not strategic. They are instinctive. To Keanu, success is measured by fairness and respect, not accumulation. He gives motorcycles to stunt teams, supports colleagues quietly, and invests in people rather than appearances. His lifestyle reflects intention rather than detachment. He understands that money amplifies values. It doesn't create them. By choosing simplicity, he maintains perspective. In a culture obsessed with more, Keanu embodies enough. His approach challenges the idea that ambition requires ego. Instead, it suggests that fulfillment comes from alignment between what you earn, what you give, and how you live. Choosing love. Again, later in life, Keanu found companionship with artist Alexandra Grant. Their relationship grew from friendship, creativity, and mutual respect rather than spectacle. When they appeared publicly together, it felt refreshingly normal. Two adults choosing connection without performance. Their bond reflects maturity, patience, and acceptance of life's complexities. Alexandra understands Keanu's past without trying to erase it. Together, they demonstrate that love doesn't require rescue or reinvention, only presence and honesty. Their partnership is quiet, intentional, and grounded in shared values. It offers a different narrative from Hollywood's usual portrayals, one rooted in balance rather than intensity. Keanu's openness to love again does not diminish his past losses. It honors them by continuing to live fully. It reinforces the idea that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means allowing joy to exist alongside memory. The legacy of a quiet hero. Keanu Reeves's legacy is not defined by box office numbers or awards, but by the way people feel when they speak his name. He represents a rare combination of resilience and gentleness, success and humility. His life illustrates that suffering does not have to lead to cruelty, and that grief can deepen compassion rather than erase it. Through consistent, quiet choices, he has shown that integrity is built over time, not declared. He reminds us that heroism is not loud, and kindness does not require recognition. In a world drawn to spectacle, Keanu stands as proof that decency still matters. His story invites reflection, not admiration from a distance, but participation. It asks us to consider how we carry our pain, how we treat others, and how we define a life well lived. And in that sense, his greatest role is simply being himself.